And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska weather and an early Happy New Year. I'm meteorologist Peter Chant coming to you from the National Weather Service on this last day of 2023, Sunday, December 31st. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what you get in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is National Weather Service's online presence. It brings you to a map of the lower 48 with Hawaii and Alaska to the lower left. You point and click anywhere on this map, it'll pull up a specific forecast for that location with any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories. Taking a look at the map of the continental U.S. here on this Sunday afternoon as we draw 2023 to a close. Not much happening across the lower 48. We do have a couple of dense fog advisories up into the Dakotas, South Texas, air quality alerts for southwest Arizona up into southeast Oregon, but otherwise no major storms really impacting anywhere there in the continental U.S. But here in Alaska, it's going to be a rather active weather pattern here as we get into the early new year. We have a couple of Bering Sea storms that are going to impact areas of the west and north in various ways. First storm is going to be crossing the central Aleutians on Tuesday. And we expect strong winds and at times blizzard conditions in some areas of the west coast and along the Arctic coast, more so because of the strong pressure gradient creating strong winds along the Arctic coast due to a big Arctic high pressure over the Arctic Ocean that's eventually going to slide southeastward into northwest Canada. It's also going to cause a strong pressure gradient that increases winds across the interior for midweek with areas of blowing snow and low wind chills. And eventually, with the first storm, a frontal system will push across the Gulf Coast and Panhandle Tuesday night into early Thursday morning, but at least the impacts there will not be as significant. The system, by the time it works its way across the Gulf, that front, it will have light to moderate precipitation with perhaps some gale force winds at best, but nothing like the storm force winds they're going to see in areas of the Aleutian. But taking a look at things this afternoon, this Sunday afternoon, Point Lay does have light snow and blowing snow, a temperature at 11 degrees below zero, half-mile visibility, and just recently this was upgraded to a blizzard warning because ground blizzard conditions are pretty much occurring there now. And Kotzebue enjoying mostly clear skies, this arc of high clouds and a temperature at zero, but strong east winds are going to develop there and up the Kobuk River Valley as a result of that pressure gradient. Strong east winds will cause some considerable blowing and drifting snow, especially by the time we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday time frame. And then going down along the lower Yukon Delta, now under a winter weather advisory for light snow, nothing heavy, but a lot of blowing and drifting snow possible. Right now, just a few flurries early this afternoon, 16 degrees, but a winter weather advisory in effect for there, as well as St. Lawrence Island, and then Dutch Harbor. Clear, the quiet before the storm, 34 degrees, just above freezing, a beautiful shot there. However, Dutch Harbor is under a high wind watch, and we expect strong winds to arrive Monday evening into Tuesday morning. Some of the gusts could be as high as 75 miles an hour along some of the ridge lines and higher points there surrounding Dutch Harbor as a result of a very deep low. This low is going to take a track up through the central eastern Aleutians Tuesday into Wednesday and have strong winds associated with it. As a result, let's go first with the warnings. We have a blizzard warning here for the northwest Arctic coast, Point Lay down to Point Hope. Strong northeast to east winds will persist now through Thursday. And along the Arctic coast, winter storm watch for blizzard conditions that could develop because of these strong northeast to east winds. There'll be more of a ground blizzard, not so much falling snow as it is blowing snow. Winds could gust as high as 50, in some cases as high as 65 miles an hour in this time frame. This is going to be a prolonged event. We expect the winds to build back toward the eastern Arctic coast as we go through midweek and linger even into Friday morning toward, say, Dead Horse, Kaktovik areas. So again, along this area, be prepared for a prolonged stretch of considerable blowing and drifting snow with blizzard conditions, whiteouts at times. Now, the winds are going to strengthen here across the interior. That's why we have the special weather statement. North of Fairbanks, the southern Dalton Highway, south slopes here of the Brooks Range, west central interior, all could see areas of blowing snow and low wind chills here, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The area here along Seward, Kotzebue Sound and northern Seward Peninsula and eastern Norton Sound, this area we anticipate winter storm watch, and it could be upgraded to an advisory or warning due to considerable blowing and drifting snow from these strong east winds that are going to develop, if not by late New Year's Day, more likely Tuesday and beyond. Then we have winter weather advisories for St. Lawrence Island and for the lower Yukon Delta, including Scammon Bay, Imanak, and these areas here will see strong winds as this low lifts up out of the North Pacific across the Aleutians. And then finally, high wind watch, Dutch Harbor, eastern Aleutians, and a winter storm watch for potential blizzard conditions. Heaviest snow is going to fall toward Adak later Monday into Tuesday morning. 4 to 8 inches of snow with 60 mile an hour winds would constitute blizzard conditions there. So be aware of these things coming up, especially through the western and northern parts of the state as we enter a very active period of weather. Now this afternoon we have kind of weakening lows here in the Gulf. There's like 3 systems, one down here, another one kind of in this vicinity, and then another low down over here. Not a whole lot happening with those features, but this low looked like it was going to actually originally a few days ago, like it was going to cross the Alaska Peninsula and bring wind and things to Bristol Bay. That's not going to happen now. That low is going to kind of come north and then slow down and weaken and come a little northeastward. It's another low further south outside of the range of this satellite image that's going to be the main player as it comes up across the Aleutians, central eastern Aleutians on Tuesday. Further north, we have high pressure that's going to build up above 1040 millibars across the Arctic Ocean. That's going to increase the pressure gradient along not only the Arctic coast, but areas of the interior. As these two pressure systems kind of come together, you're going to have the one that's out here, you know, in the lower Bering Sea, and then as this one slides southeastward into northwest Canada, it just pushes the squeeze, the pressure gradient here across the mainland. So there'll be some gusty winds develop here as we get beyond New Year's Day across the interior as well. So as of this Sunday afternoon, we have a collection of a few weaker lows in the Gulf and back here south of the Alaska Peninsula. Here comes a stronger low at 957 millibars. It's going to come northwestward and then weaken. And then the next bigger low still has to emerge as I put the maps in motion. So there's that other low late tonight, early on New Year's Day. And the other ones just kind of wash out here in the Panhandle, though. Parts of the Panhandle could see some lighter showers, light rain, snow showers in that area there late tonight into New Year's Day linger on. And then when I put this map in, here comes the deepening low up out of the North Pacific. This is Monday afternoon, New Year's Day afternoon. The low that was coming northwestward toward the Alaska Peninsula kind of washes out, gets absorbed along this front. Now check this out. By Tuesday afternoon, we have a low down near 938 millibars out toward the central Aleutians. This low is going to kind of wobble northeastward, and out ahead of it, this arcing front will eventually push across the Gulf Tuesday night and Wednesday into early Thursday. This front, as it crosses the Gulf, will not be as strong as where it is right showing up here for Tuesday afternoon. Also notice the big high up in the Arctic Ocean is shifted eastward, and it's building southeastward into northwest Canada. 1045 high, 938 low, big pressure gradient. Notice the isobars, how they're packed. Cross isobaric flow because of friction at the surface. It's not southeast wind, but more of a northeast to east wind. And some of these winds could be pretty strong through any gaps, higher elevations, drainages through broad river valleys like the Kobuk entering into Kotzebue Sound, or like Unalakleet, where you have that east flow that could be coming into Norton Sound. Again, going to be an active period, especially for northern, western, and southwestern parts of the state. So lows New Year's Day morning should generally be above freezing here through the middle lower Panhandle. Not quite as cold up across the Copper River Basin, though 13 below may not be quite cold enough for Gulkana. Gulkana was down to 36 below for the state's coldest temperature this Sunday morning. And then on Monday afternoon, we expect temperatures maybe near flirting with 40, Ketchikan out towards Sitka. Certainly 40-ish, Middleton Island down to Kodiak and King Salmon. Below zero there, though, at Gulkana in the Copper River Basin because the cold air just sits in pools there. And again, we expect sub-zero temperatures, Copper River Basin on over toward McGrath, but teens, Anchorage Bowl, upper teens to maybe near 20. And temperatures on Tuesday afternoon will creep upward, get some mid-40s here along, say, Sitka, Klawak, Craig. We'll see readings into the 20s, Anchorage Bowl, flirting with 30 there over at Valdez, Cordova. And then looking at the interior, very cold temperatures, but not as cold as they had been this past week. Still many sub-zero readings. The more interesting thing will be the degree to which the winds pick up here, especially by the time we get into Monday night and Tuesday. It'll start to build along the Arctic coast below zero. But notice temperatures, lower 20s, Nome down toward the lower portion of the Yukon Delta. And temperatures Tuesday morning will be below zero throughout the east central interior, maybe even 30 below there over at Northway. And certainly cold, Kaktovik 24 below, and we're going to see winds beginning to pick up. Those winds are going to strengthen and work their way eastward along the Arctic coast, creating ground blizzard conditions. We also expect areas of blowing snow there along areas of the west coast into the west central interior. And temperatures Tuesday afternoon, we do expect readings to stay below zero along the Alcan border and up along the North Slope Arctic coast, but notice there is a push of slightly milder air that should help to push temperatures into the teens, even 20s surrounding portions of Norton Sound. Further south and west, temperatures are going to moderate here as we go through time. Below freezing still, many areas along the Aleutian chain, even extending into the Aleutians. Temperatures still near zero or below here across the as we get up the Kuskokwim River Basin. But notice temperatures Monday afternoon could push up near or above freezing once you get down around Dillingham, areas of Bristol Bay and down along the Alaska Peninsula. Some 40-degree readings possible. And then Tuesday morning lows still below zero as you get up toward the upper Kuskokwim, toward McGrath, but maybe 23 there in Bethel. And generally near freezing along into the Aleutians. And then Tuesday afternoon temperatures, again, we should see some lower 40s here along the Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, back toward the eastern Aleutians. And here's the temperature outlook for as we enter into the first full week of January 6th through the 10th. Likelihood of temperatures above normal here over western portions of the state, much of the mainland, but especially the west and southwest. Below normal temperatures, perhaps here over the panhandle. Now, what this means is that it's January, so still going to have the potential for snow. Any storm that brings in heavier precipitation will be mainly snow. Coastal areas, though, could see an icy mix. Snow mixing with changing over to a period of freezing rain and maybe even going over briefly to rain along the immediate coast. So active weather pattern continues, and look at that. We expect the greatest potential for above normal precipitation to be centered here on the lower Yukon, Kuskokwim deltas and basins. And this could definitely lend toward a stormy period where some areas do pick up a fair amount of snow, considering it's been relatively, when it comes to above normal precipitation, not the case here earlier this fall into the early winter. And notice perhaps the panhandle may finally get a little break near to a bit below normal precipitation for a change.